It's Wednesday. Spark gets his flame. Spark grew fast. Spark tried to be careful. Lesson 1, toast marshmallows. He sat down. He put a marshmallow on a stick. Lesson 2, dry the dishes. Spark went into the kitchen. Lesson 3, try while you sleep. Spark closed his eyes. Poof! A cloud of smoke filled his room. The birthday candles. An apple for the little unicorn. Spark was very careful. Piff, piff. Everyone sang happy birthday. The end.
NewDate.getDay is going to give you the result of 0 through 6. If the value is 0, then this case will match 0, and the value of this, if it's 0, this being a match means that these statements will execute. The variable day that we created up here as a global will get the value of Sunday. The variable picture will point to this particular JPEG that represents Sunday. The variable sound will be assigned this particular OGG file, which is an audio file. We have button words. The variable button words will be capitalized Sunday, ... push, and then a break statement will break us out of the switch block. The switch block starts at line 5, and as you can see, right here's the opening curly brace. It goes all the way down to line 49. So it's kind of long, but not too bad. It's pretty easy to once you see the pattern. Now, today's date happens to be Wednesday, so case 0 will not match this expression because this expression at this time will give us Wednesday's value, which starting with 0 being Sunday, 1 for Monday, 2 for Tuesday, it's going to give us a value of 3. So case 3 will match this expression, NewDate.getDay. This will be 3, so this is ignored, this is ignored, this is ignored, and this will execute. So we will have the variable day assigned to the string Wednesday. Picture will be assigned to this path that points to this JPEG inside of the folder box. We have Wednesday.jpg. Sound, picture will be set to Wednesday. Sound will be set to Wednesday.og. Button words will be set to Wednesday push, and then we'll break right out of the whole switch statement. So case 4 gets ignored, case 5 gets ignored because none of these are matches. Case 6 gets ignored. Currently, none of them are matches. Here is the ending curly brace of the switch statement. Now these 4 statements are going to execute no matter which case matches the switch. The picture is going to have a certain value that it's going to point to. So document.getElement by ID, parentheses and double quotes, myImage.source equals picture. It will be the Wednesday picture. Next, we are going to do the same thing with sound. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quotes, mySND.source equals sound. So the sound file for Wednesday will be the source for this particular element with the ID of sound, which is an audio file once we look back at the index.html webpage. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses and double quotes, demo.innerHTML equals today is, plus we're going to concatenate the variable day. So we're not going to see the word day, we're going to see the value for what today is, which is Wednesday. Now because here we're pointing to a picture, here we're pointing to an audio file, here we're taking our paragraph that has the ID of demo, and we are using the .innerHTML to present this string to us. The literal string today is plus the value of day, which is Wednesday. Lastly, we have document.getElement by ID, parentheses and double quotes, button face. We gave this button right here an ID called button face, dot, again, innerHTML equals the variable that we created, button words. So this button has an ID of button face, but we want to change the message of the variable button words each time we click it. So there is well, not each time we click it, depending on what day it is of the week. My apologies. All right, so then there's the end of the function daily news. So from top to bottom, I can close that up. The daily news is only called when the page first loads, or when you hit this refresh button here to reload the page.
It's Wednesday.
Now tomorrow we won't see this Wednesday image, we'll see a Thursday image. The audio file will say today is Thursday, and the paragraph down here will say today is Thursday, and the button will say Thursday ... push. That's what the daily news function does. Let's go back to the HTML file. And so we've went over this line. Let's go over 15. Div ID equals image holder. So this outer div goes from line 15 to line 25, and it holds all this other stuff inside. That div with the ID of image holder, we get to style it in our CSS. So let's look for div ID image holder right here. You don't have to put the word div before the pound and image holder. You can just put pound image holder if you like, but adding what the element is, what the tag is, before the pound or the dot, pound for ID, dot for class, makes it easier to realize what is being styled. So I kind of like it like this. And don't have any spaces. Have div, straight to a pound, straight to image holder, the name of it. And we have these following styles for the image holder. And again, that's going to hold everything. That holds everything. Let's go back to our HTML file. So after the opening tag for this outermost div, we have an image tag right here. Image ID equals my img, the capital I. Source equals nothing. We don't set an image in this image area through the HTML. We let the JavaScript handle what picture is going to pop up. So two things. The picture that's going to pop up is going to depend on what day of the week it is. And then when we get to the other function in JavaScript, it's going to depend on how many times we've pushed this button. My IMG should be styled in our CSS. So let's look up the image tag pound my IMG. Here it is right here. The image tag pound my IMG is specifying which image it is. In this particular tutorial, we only have one image, so it's not that big of a deal. But if we had 3 images and we wanted each image to be styled different, then this would be important. Image pound my image 1, image pound my image 2, and so on and so forth. But these are the styles we're giving the single image with the ID of my IMG. Going back to the HTML, the next thing we've got in line is this inner div, this nested div inside. And what's inside, it goes from line 18 and it closes at line 22. What's inside is we've got an audio tag right here. Audio ID equals my SND. We have the keyword controls, so you can see the control right here for the audio player. And then we have the second keyword autoplay, so that you don't have to physically hit the button or hit the triangle here to play whatever the audio is. There's the opening audio tag and the closing audio tag, and that's it for that. After the audio tag we have, oh wait, let's look at the CSS for my SND. So we'll be audio pound my SND, and that's right here. It's this whole thing. Audio pound my SND, and then in the curly braces we have width, height, and float stylized. After the audio tag we have a button, and in the opening button tag, button ID equals button face, on click equals play story. So when we click this button, we're calling the play story function. In between the opening and closing button tag, we have some text here that says push for next page. Now, that was what was on this button before I added JavaScript changes to the button face. Right now, we never see push for next page. So with that being said, I might as well just delete this and get it out of there, because the JavaScript decides what's going to be on the button face. So if I refresh this,
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday push, and now every push of the button is going to give me the name of the book or what page number I'm on. Okay, let's look at button with the ID of button face, button pound button face, in our style.css. And that's next, that's right here. So for button pound button face, we get these following styles. So if you have multiple buttons in your project, you can specify a different style for each button by using an ID that you give the button. If you want all buttons to be exactly the same, then you would take off the ID and you would just have button. That would mean every button in your page is going to have the same style. The end of the div for controls holder. Did I look at the div controls holder? No, I didn't. That's right here. And these are the styles for the div with the ID of controls holder. Button with button face, we looked at that one. Audio with the ID of my sound gets these. Image tag with the ID of my image gets these. The div with the ID image holder gets these. The body, which we don't have an ID for the body, it's just the plain old body tag, gets these. And let's see if I forgot anything. Next, after the controls holder div ID is closed, we have a paragraph that is outside of the inner div but inside of the image holder div. So it's just after this div of the audio and the button. It's just outside of that. It's in between the two nested divs. P for paragraph, ID equals demo, closing P. And again, our JavaScript is going to handle the functionality of the element with the ID demo, with button face, BTN face, with my SND, short for my sound, my IMG, short for my image. We already looked at the daily news function in JavaScript. We still need to look at the play story function that happens when we click the button. But anyway, there's the ending div tag for this image holder div. Ending body, ending HTML. So we've read all of the code for the index.html web page. Now let's make sure we've read all of the styles. I looked at the body. We looked at the div with the ID of image holder, image with the ID of my image, audio with the ID of my sound, button with the ID of button face, div with the ID of controls holder, and lastly, P with the ID of demo. So now let's check out our second function here. Again, these global variables can be used in either daily news function or the play story function. So let's check out our play story function. Now you see times is our counter, and it's originally created, initialized at the value of 0. So we have our first if condition that wants to know if times is equal to 0. Well, that's a true statement because we created it equal to 0 in the very beginning. So because this if condition is true, all of these statements inside of these curly braces will execute. The variable picture, the value of it will be this cover1x.jpg image, which resides inside of a box folder. The variable sound will be assigned an audio file called none.og, which is also found in a folder called box. The variable button words will be set equal to the string spark. And the message, the variable msg, short for message, will have the value of spark by Kaylee George. And then finally, we take that variable times that has the value of 0 and we increment it up by 1. Now, times now has a value of 1 up here. It's no longer 0. It's global and it's been changed from the inside of this function. So when you click the button again, times is going to be equal to 0. So when play story is called, this first condition times equals 0 is going to be false. So it's going to skip everything in here and it's going to move down to the next else if. This one is true. If times is equal to 1, it's true at this point. So now we're going to give picture a new value, sound a new value, button words a new value, message a new value, and the variable times gets incremented up again. So now it's going to be equal to 2. You click this button again, times will be equal to 2, so this is true. So it will do this. And we go on and on and on until we finish every page of this story. Here's the very last condition. Else if times is equal to 17, then if that's true, we're going to do all of these things. Picture gets the 17x.jpg, sound gets the 17.og audio file, button words gets the string that says page 17, message gets the string the end, and times, now we don't keep incrementing it up. We've reached the end, so we want to start all over. So we reset the value of this variable times back to 0, which means if we keep clicking this button, it's going to do everything all over again. Now, regardless of which time, how many times you've clicked this button, we will do all 4 of these statements, and this is similar to the previous function. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses and double quotes, my img.source equals picture. The variable is going to have a different value each time you click it. Then we're also going to do document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quotes, my snd.source equals sound. Document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quotes, demo.innerHTML equals MSG. And finally, document.getElement by ID, parentheses, double quotes, buttonface.innerHTML equals button words. There's the ending curly brace of that second function, which means that we have looked at all the code, I believe. Let me double check. I've looked at function daily news, function play story. We went over all the global variables, so we're done with the action.js. And I believe body, div, image holder, image my image, audio my sound, button my button face, div, controls holder, and paragraph demo. We've done all of those, so we're done with our style.css. And we actually finished off everything in index.html. So with that, we are finished with this project. Again, I'll show you one more time how it works. This is page load.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday push. Spark.
Spark gets his
Page
flame.
1.
Spark
Page 2.
Spark
Page 3.
tried. Lesson
Page 4.
1, he
Page
sat down.
5. Page
Lesson
6.
2,
Page
Spark
7.
went.
Page
Lesson
8.
3,
Page
Spark
9.
closed.
Page
Poof.
10.
The
Page
birthday
11.
cake. An
Page
apple.
12. 13. 14.
Was
15. 16.
everyone sang.
And 17.
Yeah.
Now when I click this again, what do you think this button's going to say? Do you think it's going to say page 18, or do you think it's going to say something about the day of the week? What do you think? It just has the name of the book. All right, so with that, we're finished.